area, because there's a gentleman there who probably changed my mind about guitar. To a great extent, it was yourself. It was listening to things like John McLaughlin, My Goals Beyond, that featured Billy Cobham, who's on the new project right here. And the gentleman's name, by the way, is Larry Coryell. And you have this new project, which is called Live from the High, which we'll talk about. It was the Fairyland album by you, I think, that really, changed my mind, because at that time Jimi Hendrix was doing some things. There were some Hendrix things that were being pulled out that were a little bit more jazzy, and you worked with him. I mean, or at least you jammed with him a lot.
Okay, you want to know the truth about those jam sessions?
Yeah, let's know the absolute truth about the jams.
Because now there's books coming out.
There's the new book with Eddie Kramer.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen Eddie's book, but Crosstown Traffic. The guy is quoting Robert Wyatt, who is a very nice musician, a nice guy, wonderful guy, is saying that we had a big blowout one night where we were, the implication was that we were both playing guitar, but the thing is, I never got to play one-on-one guitar with Hendrix.
Okay.
And Robert, probably his memory is rather hazy, as is mine, but because I had lengthy conversations with Eddie Kramer in my home a couple of years ago, when he was putting together Setting the Record Straight. Is that the name of the book?
Yes, the new book, yes.
We both realized that Jimmy and I never got to play guitar to guitar. I mean,
just you and him.
Well, no, we were on the stage, we had a rhythm section, but he was playing the bass, that's all that was there, because he was left-handed. And I would love to have been, as described in the article, blown off the stage by Jimi Hendrix, but the truth of the matter is, I never really got to go one-on-one guitar with him.
So it was like guitar and bass, and
yeah, I mean, it was like, for me, it was like it was frustrating. But Jimmy was doing something that I had in mind, which was to take jazz, because rock and roll at that time was very clear to me that blues was common to both rock and roll and to jazz, and guitar was going to be leading the pack out of the conservative doldrums of music at that time. And we just kind of happened upon this, kind of like Charlie Parker and Sonny Stitt, kind of arrived at the same thing at the same time, two like-minded people. Of course, he was much more talented than I was in terms of the way he could play loud. But the Fairyland record is definitely a part of me that I was really, fighting hard to realize. To do a jazz-inspired thing that was electric and loud and different and wasn't incorporating the normal bebop lines.
It reminded me a lot of Band of Gypsies.
You did? Plus I had a good rhythm section on that. But I think Band of Gypsies was a classic.
Yeah.
Classic. That's the one recorded at the Fillmore, right?
Yes, it was.
I thought that was pretty amazing. I think Hendrix was the first one to really make an electric guitar turned up loud enough sound like a synthesizer. And I mean, he was a wizard at that. He was a genius at that. But I was really inspired by the revolution in music at that time, and the feeling of everyone in our generation was, and this is not too far off from the movie The Doors. I had to say that movie is kind of jive.
Yeah.
But it was a good try. What it really was people creatively trying to bring about a new language assembled from the musical giants that had gone before. In Hendrix's case, a lot of the influences were more straight-ahead blues, Elmore James, etc. And I was very much inspired by B.B. King.
Okay.
But in both of our cases, and I think in his case more so, we knew that the uncharted area was the electric guitar, and I think he really took it.
Now, I understand that a lot of great guitarists actually want to play like a saxophonist, just because of the amount of time that you can, I guess, sustain a note or some of the things.
And the quality of the ideas.
Really, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. How so? Explain it.
Because up until the point that the 60s took place, very few guitar players were playing horn ideas. Wes Montgomery was doing it, Tal Fowler was doing it. Barney Kessler was doing it. Barney Kessler played with Bird, he played with Charlie Parker and some other people. But as the revolution in music took place all through the middle 60s and into the 70s and the 80s, more and more guitarists took it up initially because they were interested in the instrument, but they found that the most satisfying expression would be found from following the lead of horn phrasing.
Now, what are you going to do for us first here?
I'm just going to mess around a little bit.
Okay, well, noodle. I mean,
I'm
like
gonna
you
play,
noodle.
I'm going to play something by Thelonious Monk.
Okay.
Called Blue Monk. Just the blues.
Okay. Larry Coryell. Just family and friends and things like that.
I feel like I'm back in school again.
You had a long-standing relationship with Alphonse Mouzon.
Yeah.
For people that don't know who Alphonse Mouzon is, the percussionist, tell them, because now you've got Billy Cobham on this record.
Oh, man. Well, you know, back in the 70s when we were forming all these various fusion ensembles, it was like, take your choice. You want a Jaguar like Billy Cobham, or you want a Rolls Royce like Alphonse Mouzon. Alphonse has a tremendously high life condition, and he's got a lot of enthusiasm. He's very creative. He speaks a lot of different languages. He's very facile. You know, he's got a good mind. And physically, the physical plant required for the drummer, both of them, have that tremendous, almost Superman. I remember one. Can I just tell you one quick story?
Go ahead.
I feel like Ross Perot. You know, where he looks into the camera and says, I've been around a lot. Anyway.
But you have no charts.
Right. Mouzon once played, and we were playing loud. He once played without any microphones on his drums. He hit the tom-tom so hard, I thought I was going to go deaf. That's how strong he was. We were good friends, you know, we were very competitive. You know, we like, when we played music, we really tried to, you know, push each other. Like, you know, we used to get emotional over tennis games and stuff, you know.
Well, back in the 70s, with a lot of the musicians, there was Chick Corea's Return to Forever,
Great group.
with Stanley Clarke, Al Di Meola. There was your group 11th House with Alphonse Mouzon, John McLaughlin, Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Great group.
All the fusion groups. What was the one thing that they all had in common?
Yeah, a connection to Miles.
Yeah?
That was it.
That was it, Miles?
Absolutely. Because Miles was really in the vanguard of, you know, taking the jazz tradition. Great, jazz tradition, wonderful. Now let's move forward. Let's relate.
Yeah.
You know, Miles talks about that in the book.
Yeah. Okay. Could you play a quick little Miles piece for us?
A Miles piece?
Yeah.
I'll play you a piece that Miles wrote for me.
All right, there we go. We'll do that, and then we'll get into the live video.
I can't remember what the title is, but it was the Miles. It's for me.
Okay. Hey.
Miles wrote it for me. Let me see. Wrong notes. He said, play some wrong notes.
All right, that's tonight at the Guitar Bar. People will be able to see. There are two shows, I believe, one around 8 or so, and one around 10 or so.
Yeah, I play the 12 string. Then I have an acoustics 6 string, which is made in Quebec.
That is a Godin guitar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have my old Gibson Super 400 that I played on that Fairyland.
Okay, amazing.
I pulled that out of the mothballs a couple of years ago, and I said, man, this really sounds nice. So I put some new pickups on it, put some Barkersberry pickups, and you know, I'm playing it again. I'm really committed to that guitar.
Great. All right, the new album is right here. Can we get a shot of this, Dennis? Now, just tell us a little bit about this before we see the video.
Oh man, 2 days before they were going to have McLaughlin do this. They couldn't find him, or I forget what. Maybe he turned it down. 2 days before this whole thing went down, so my manager calls me. He said, "Get your visa for Brazil. You're going to Brazil in 2 days to play with Billy Cobham, Donald Harrison. I've always been a fan of his, and all these Brazilian cats, who I knew about some of them. They're all bad.
But you never played with him before?
Never. And we wrote the music. I wrote my tunes on the way to the airport.
Okay.
And Donald Harrison wrote his on the way to the airport. And there was no rehearsal. We just got it together right there on that plaza there that's overlooking the harbor. You'll see that.
Okay.
And then that's what we did.
Okay.
We took the tapes back to New Jersey to Rudy Van Gelder's to fix some of the stuff because it was recorded on equipment that can only be described as
ancient.
Muito, yes. I don't know how to say it in Portuguese.
Ancient history here. All right, so we're going to see as a live interpretation of this with
this is,
the fellows you did it with.
Yeah.
Okay, great enough. Larry Coryell, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest guitarists around, and you saw him here today, and this is taken from live at Baha'i. This is Larry Coryell.
Bahia.
Bahia. Bahia. I keep saying Baha'i.
Good
Bahia. Good read.
Fun.
Yeah.